Hey guys, I'm back with another beginner chess game analysis video. I think this is number 18 or 19. Um, just a reminder, if anybody would like me to review their game and are under 1750 Lichess or about 1500chess.com, just shoot me over a message. And please only send me games that are 10 minutes or longer time control. And before I start, just again, a disclaimer as always, my average rating on Lichess is around 2050 across all time controls. So just keep that in mind. I'm not a titled player or anything like that. Okay, so this game is from a user called steelcat who is playing white in this game. I'm looking at it for the first time right now. And oh, I guess I should state the ratings. So on Lichess, this is a rapid game, 10 plus 5. And steelcat as white here is rated 1538 and his opponent is 1546. So, okay, so d4, not my area of expertise, but I'll try my best here. So I really don't know. I don't know this opening theory, so I really cannot comment very much on this. But peeking at the opening book here on the side, this d5 is very rarely played. I feel a little bit bad about referencing the opening book because anyone can do that. But that being said, d5, I mean, look at the big discrepancy in frequency of games or of moves here. Knight f3 by far and large the main reply on this specific line. And look at the win rate for d5. Only 20. It's only 26 games, so it's a small sample size. But look at that. There's twice as many wins as black as there are for white. And if I turn on the engine here and I show it, okay, they're not going to work on the side. Hang on. Boom, boom. There we go. Excuse me. So it's only depth 28 in the cloud, but this d5 move now is showing it as -1 for black, meaning that it's almost like black having an extra pawn. So this d5 move does not appear to be very good. So yeah, you probably want to go with the main line here of knight f3 in the future if you're going to play this. So because already on move 4, black is ahead by quite a bit. Let me just get back to the game. I'm gonna refrain from using the engine as much as I can because it really lags the video recording here. But just keep a note for that in the future, and not just specifically this exact opening, but it's always good to reference the opening book and the engine, and just make sure when you have the opening book, put it on. If you click on this little cog wheel, make sure it's on the Masters database, not the Lichess database. The Masters database the games will be taken from strong players, so players rated 2200 and higher. From over the board play, as opposed to everyone on Lichess. So make sure that's Masters. Otherwise, the database could actually hinder you. Well, I guess you could always filter it this way, but even so, make sure it's the Masters database. That's very important. Okay. Anyways, let's move forward. So d5 was played, and okay, we have c6 here. So let's see what white plays. It takes the pawn. That looks all fine. Check. So knight c3. I'm not loving knight c3. So my main concern is if black takes, and yes, he would be giving up a bishop for a knight, but after cd or after bc, I'm not so sure about that. It might not be the worst thing in the world. It might not be so bad. But instinctually, it makes me cautious because we now have kind of a broken pawn structure at the moment. We have kind of an extended pawn on d5, and we'll have a pawn on c3, and then we have an isolated pawn on a2. I'm not sure. It might be not so bad because if this happens, eventually we might be able to catch up with the c pawn, put it on c4, and then these pawns have reunited and they can defend each other. But there is a bishop on c4, so it might not be so quick to be able to place the pawn on c4. So I would really have to give that more thought, but I would probably not play knight c3 in a game. I would probably play, well, at least I would consider bishop d2. We would have to make sure that there's no issues after something like bishop takes, knight takes, and cd. I don't see anything immediate. Well, in that case, there is knight f6, and now these two pieces are getting hit. This would be self-defended by this bishop, but the bishop would then have to move again, and then this would be undefended. So just looking at that again, bishop d2, if bishop takes, and that's only if we take with the knight. So in that case, we may have to take with the queen. And we don't get to develop the knight for free in that case. But yeah, so that's why I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know, maybe knight c3 isn't so bad. Maybe it's not so bad after all. Another thing that knight c3 does give us is if bishop takes and bc, we now have this little cute diagonal allowing us to put a bishop on a3, which could be quite annoying. It can help prevent black from castling. So yeah, so in retrospect and looking at it, thinking about it a little bit more, I think knight c3 is actually, it might actually be fine here. Yeah, I've changed my tune. I think this is a pretty good diagonal. So, okay, I changed my tune. And you know what? Out of curiosity, I am going to take a peek at the engine, what the engine thinks here. Okay, so so it's bouncing around here. And yeah, at first it liked bishop d2 immediately, but then it switched over to knight c3. So turning it off again, knight c3 is the best move. So maybe you should be making me a video. But no, but I'm still hoping that this is useful because it's showing my thought process. Because my gut reaction was knight c3, not so sure about that. But yeah, after some thought, it seemed to actually work out. Okay, so let's just keep going. But that being said, I hope that you worked out the same thought process that I had and didn't just immediately play here. Okay. That was a long ramble. Okay, so now with knight f3, we've dropped a pawn. And I just want to take a note that white, so steelcat here, is playing too quickly. Their time control is 10 plus 5, so there is a 5-second increment. But even so, our opponent has more time than he started with. And this is I don't want to say, it's not like a super insanely complex position, but in my opinion, it's a fairly complex position. It's a small mistake can happen very easily in such a position. So I think it's worth spending a little bit of time here, but white has been playing very quickly. So let me just get back out of this view again. But yeah, let's see, doesn't knight f3 drop a pawn though? Okay, maybe not, because I guess we're attacking e5. I'm not sure if we like that though. Let's just take a look. Let's say bishop takes bc, and then if knight takes, we can take here, and but then we drop another pawn, but I don't know if our knight might get trapped there. It's very sharp. But my point here is, was this calculated before knight f3 was played? Because this is the first thing I would be concerned about after knight f3. So knight f3, bishop takes, removing the defender of this e4 pawn. Takes, he can take here. Now there might be moves like queen e2, which actually looks very good. Queen e2 looks pretty good, at least. If something like f5, well, then we can take on knight e5, and then we have f3 and so forth. So okay, maybe knight f3 works. Again, my instinct of being concerned is maybe not founded here, but I still would be cautious before playing a move like knight f3. If this was all calculated by white, then great. But just be sure that you are calculating all of these issues. Okay. Boy. Okay. A3. This is there's a lot to calculate. It's a very sharp position here. A3. I think A3 is probably okay, but there's really a lot to consider. There is a lot to consider. So let's look at bishop takes f3 first. And if we take with the queen, looks like we would be okay. And more than okay in this case. And oh, there's a lot of stuff here though. I'm looking, just for example, bishop takes, queen takes. Potentially there's bishop takes. I guess a queen could, no, queen can't take that way because we're dropping e4. If we take bc, it might be fine, but there are things to consider like queen a5, hitting this pawn and hitting this, so potentially this could be taken. I'm going a little bit overboard here, and I know I might not be clear in my statements here, but what I'm trying to describe is that the position is very everything is kind of hanging by a thread, so you have to be very careful in this position. And white has again only spent like seconds per move. So for me, I would really be calculating this stuff out because it's so easy to blunder here. So A3, because something just seems off a little bit by A3 to me. Because there's already issues. There's a pin here, there's a pin here, and this is hanging by a thread. It's only defended by one piece. And then there's questions about this too, but yeah, I'm a little bit, something seems wrong, but I can't quite see what it is. What if we change the move order? So after A3, after A3, what if black takes here first and we take BC? Black could take here, but I'm still not sure if that's great for black. There's still possibly queen e2. Okay, I'm curious. What does the computer think here? Yeah, the computer is looking at that line. So computer is saying bishop takes, BC, and then exactly the line I was looking at. Takes, and it likes this for black. And so if queen e2, this is what I was looking at, then yeah, c takes d5. So okay, yeah, so yeah, computer does like this for black. A3, and yeah, something just seems a little bit weird that we want to promote or encourage this. I don't think we want to encourage that because again, that's the defender of the e4 pawn. So after takes, and I wasn't sure about this. I thought maybe white is fine after something like queen e2, but the computer stated cd, and black is up a pawn, and it doesn't. I don't see how we how we get it back. If we give a check, that really doesn't do anything. And if we move back, well, now it's black's move again, and he's up a pawn here. And once he castles and develops, he'll be in the driver's seat. So I know, very, very long description here. My point is really nothing specific. My point is just you got to be very careful in such positions. Don't rush it. Don't just play. Like you have to. You have to recognize when a position is pretty sharp, and this is a very sharp position. So you need to slow down and make sure that that you've accounted for each scenario. So A3, okay. With A3, now you got to look at this. You have to look at even just this, knight E4. We don't even calculate that as potentially being an issue. So there's a lot of things that we have to consider here. Okay, anyways, A3. Oh, and he did take. This is what happened in the game now. And he did take the pawn. So exactly some of my concerns, this is what happened in the game. Queen D3. Okay, okay, maybe not. Okay, I see why he played Queen D3, because White wants to try to defend this D5 pawn still, in case this happens, and attacking the knight. Okay, Queen D3 actually seems totally fine at first glance anyways. Hang on, there's one. Yeah, I'm just thinking another move I might consider here. I'm not sure. Never mind. Okay, so yeah, this was played. And yeah, there's the fork. I didn't even see that at first. Wow. Yeah, so, okay, so I missed that at first too. So I guess... you can take on E5, right? Because if Queen E7, I think we can hang on to it with F4 or Bishop F4. So I'm a little surprised that this wasn't considered, because it seems to be fine to me, knight E5. Yeah. So I'm not sure why this was not played. Knight E5, Queen E7. There's Bishop F4 and there's F4, and they seem to hold to me. If G5, we have time. We can castle whatever. So, okay, so that appears to be missed. I think maybe, well, he spent 30 seconds on this move. So, okay, just a little bit of an oversight there, I think. And now there's this issue. And we don't get that pawn anymore. Knight to E5. So my question is, after knight E5, what is White's plan? So, or rather, I should say, after Black defends or moves the bishop back, what are we doing with this knight? Is the idea to take here? Because I don't really like that, trading two minor pieces for this and this. So I'm not sure the exact move that Black might play. If I was Black, I might not want to play here, because moves like G4 might be a problem. So maybe I want to come back. Well, I guess we don't. Maybe we even go all the way back to C8, and maybe that was White's idea. So maybe knight D5 is not so bad, but I do worry about stuff like this, like rook E8. I worry about that a little bit. So knight D5. Okay, let's go with it. Yeah, see, I don't like this by Black, because G4 gains another tempo and a good attack by White. Now it does create the issue of white having no good castling side. So it's a very committal move, but I think this is good. I think I would play g4 here. He castles instead. Castling is kind of a safer move. I don't hate it because it's solid, but I wonder if g4 was given any thought. You know, g4. The thing is, if black moves the bishop back, we could maybe take it, or we could play h4, h5. If black tries something like h6, well, we can just like power right through this. You know, we have two bishops on pretty good diagonals. We have these open or semi-open files for white. Eventually, we can castle, bring in the other rook. I think this would be a good attacking option. So something to consider there. But castling was done instead. Here comes the rook by black. Knight c4. Yeah, so this knight is actually fairly good here. I'm not sure why we would want to trade it off. Maybe white was thinking that, okay, there's no other place we can go because the knight is going to get taken if we don't. But why can't we defend this? First thing I would consider here is f4. Although I do worry about that pin. Once this pawn is gone, then there is this, there are pinning issues. So, but I would still, that's my gut reaction, is to play f4, but after ef, yeah, there are issues there because f6 is looming. So, f4 might not work. So yeah, f4. f4 ef, yeah, seems to be bad for us. Yeah, because if after we do something like rook takes, then f6, it looks like we lose that knight. Okay, so I don't think f4 works. But can't we, because I would really not, I would prefer not to trade this knight off. What about like queen g3? Queen g3 is nice because we actually get off of this x-ray of the rook while at the same time defending the knight and potentially creating more threats. For example, queen g3 and then bishop h6 is a threat. So this seems fine, and we just have to look for a refutation, a possible refutation here, which there could be plenty. I'm not sure if what. Let's see, f6. 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 I guess we would then have to go knight here, but the difference with this move of playing queen g3 is, by doing this, now the queen is, again, it's off of this dangerous file. And it's on, it's creating a threat. So I think this might be the better option. Queen g3. Queen g3, if f6, then we bring the knight back. And if takes, so be it. But at least the queen is on a better square. As opposed to going knight c4 right away. So let's just say knight c4, knight takes, bishop takes. Again, there's this issue. There's this awkward placement of the queen. So queen g3 first, I think. We're creating a threat, we're defending the knight, and we're off of this x-ray. Okay, so black took the pawn first. Okay, you decide to keep the knight. So my concern was knight b2. And I like that you didn't just automatically trade. But my concern with knight b2 is, it's a pretty terrible square for the knight. Because where are we going now? We can't go here, we can't go here. If we go to d1, where are we going from d1, right? Like from d1, we have no good avenues to go to. It's kind of dead on d1 as well. So therefore, once we go to b2, the only square we can go to is a4. And that doesn't look like a whole lot of great prospects for us. So Knight b2, I really don't like. But we do have to move it. So it looks like we have 3 alternatives. These are our alternative moves because I don't see any other counter-attacking options. Now, taking is fairly straightforward. Takes. It's not the worst option in the world, but arguably it does help Black's queen improve slightly. It gets off the back rank, develops somewhat. But knight a6, I don't see what our long-term effects are. Actually, we're just dropping the knight, so forget that. So we only really have 2 options. We have knight takes and then knight d2. But as stated before, well, no, that was knight on d1. But knight d2 doesn't look great either. Because where are we going? Okay, there is a difference though. Knight d2, we can pop into b3 and then get this awesome outpost on d4, which can't be easily thwarted. There is knight c6, which can challenge it, but if he does take, we can get rid of, well, we still would have an isolated pawn, but it'll be slightly better because at least we're blockading one of the central pawns afterwards. So yeah, so here, I mean, I just, what I'm trying to say is, don't just move back blindly. Think about long term. Like where can your knight go in the future after you go back there? It's very hard for white to make any use of this knight. And then at the same time, he's taking a square away from the bishop. So just these little things matter. So yeah, so just in retrospect, no, not retrospect, in summary, I think taking is not bad. I think it's okay because we could play something like rook d1, and this is a backwards pawn for black, and we have 2 pieces attacking it, and taking might be fine. We improve the scope of our light squared bishop as well. So I think taking is fine, but knight d2 might be okay too, because knight d2, b3 was the idea of knight d4. Now it will take us 3 moves to do that, so it is a little slow, but it might be worth it. Even though black might get another move in or 2 for free, if we can get this pawn here, that might be a slight improvement for us, possibly. I'm curious what the computer thinks here. I will take a peek at the computer here. Okay, so you know what? It hates knight d2. It hates knight d2, and I'm curious why. Maybe it's just a little too slow. It's saying bishop e6. If we go knight b3, I think it just thinks it's too slow. Interesting. I would have to look at that further. So the engine doesn't like knight d2. I'm not 100% sure why, but it definitely prefers taking, and a lot better than knight b2. So let me turn off the engine. I know it kills the video, but okay. So taking is the best move. I thought this is still worth considering, though. I'm not 100% sure why computer doesn't like it. My guess is it's a little too slow. But yeah, so taking the knight would have been better. I spent a long time on that, but okay. But knight b2, it just feels wrong because where are we going? Well, this knight has nowhere to go after this move. Rook d1. Okay, it's playable. I'm not 100% sure about it because while we're putting pressure here, this can be relieved by something as simple as knight f5. In fact, that might even gain a tempo for black. Again, I don't hate it. But my thinking is, I think we need to do something about these pieces first because these are very awkward and they are tangling us up. And for example, what are you going to do with this bishop after you play rook d1? If you try to improve it with bishop d2, now suddenly you're blocking this rook. So I don't know. This might be fine, but I would be working on trying to develop these minor pieces instead. Maybe the knight first. maybe bringing it up, trying to do something like this. I don't know if that it probably doesn't work because something as simple as b6 kills the knight. But or maybe I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of this is a tough position. This is very awkward. We can't play c4 because it's defended 3 times. So I don't know. This is tough. I really hate this knight on b2. It's so bad there. Okay. Rook d1 might be okay. I'm just thinking of, whoops, I didn't mean to make that move. I'm just thinking of alternative ideas I might be considering here. I might actually consider something like queen d2 with the possible idea of, again, pushing c4. So trying to liquidate this pawn and getting some breathing room. Maybe breaking up black center. And it also frees up this bishop. So queen d2, oh, sorry, queen e2. So queen e2 might be worth considering, something like that. This is going to be a long video. Sorry about that. There we go, c4. So what I like White's idea here. And since this knight has moved, it's no longer defending c4. So c4, that seems, at first glance, it seems pretty good. That was one of my ideas. We have to be careful about d1. We're okay here because this is x-raying the black queen, but we just have to be careful because, well, okay, never mind. No, we're okay even so. Never mind. Okay, yeah, but I think I like c4. I think I like c4. Hang on here. Okay. Thought it's going to break in here in a second. So knight d4. Okay, what's black's idea there? That's a little odd to me. Interesting. I don't know. Okay. Oh, this is a hope chess move. He's hoping for this. Like, you're gonna miss this. So I don't know. It's a weird move. I don't like it because where is black? Other than this, what is black really doing? I don't know. Maybe it's okay, but I think he's going purely for this. It's a hope chess move, hoping you won't see it. Let's see if you see it. Ooh, you see it, but you defend it in a very, very awkward way. So the reason this rubs me the wrong way is because, okay, well, you're cutting off the bishop for one thing. You're taking a piece off the back rank, and this rook is very, very awkward on d2 here. The rooks are not coordinated. They're not connected. They won't be connected. And your rook only now has one square, can only go back. So this, I don't like spending, and then also the rook is defending this one square. That's like a big responsibility for a rook. I really don't like rook d2. So what would I play here? Well, I think king f1 is interesting. I would consider king f1. That'd be the first thing I look at. Because I don't see what's wrong with simply king f1. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. You could also consider. Okay. I think I see the logic. So he didn't want to play rook e1 because there's there's knight c2 forking the two rooks, and therefore he played rook d2. That's what his thinking. But there were other ways to defend this square. For example, queen d2 defends it. I'm not sure about this move. I think it's okay. But I don't like that, again, that we're blocking in our bishop. So here I think king f1 makes the most sense to me. I don't see a downside to king f1. and we keep the rook x-raying the queen, and just on a much better square. Bishop is more open. I'm going to take a peek at the engine. Or king h1. Computer actually likes king h1, and it says everything is completely losing for white, but it actually likes king h1 too, which I didn't consider. I turned off the engine now. Yeah, this is a kind of a scary square in my opinion, putting the king on h1. But yeah, I should have considered king h1 too. But I think like king f1 is something that I would be looking at here. It's just because this rook d2 move. Oh, it's a very awkwardly placed rook. So he sacks the exchange. I don't get that decision, because why wouldn't you do it last move before black gets a free move in? So I'm guessing white was feeling like he had no squares to play. I mean, this is extremely difficult for white. Like, white is already in big trouble, so it's hard for me to find any good moves. And it's largely because this knight going back to b2. That was a very awkward move. And now this is a similarly awkward move, the rook on d2. Like, the pieces are so uncoordinated. But okay, so I'm trying to understand the reason for this exchange sack. I'm not sure why this was necessary. For example, g4 might be interesting, because the knights they're called superfluous knights, meaning kind of like overkill, like they're defending each other. It's kind of they're almost over defending, and they're covering some of the same squares. But one of the downsides to that is, and often this is, it might seem strong, but often this is it's a weakness, actually more often than not, because they're kind of codependent. Once one moves, the other one's not defended. So I'm wondering about g4 here, right? Because g4, and then this is undefended. So I'm trying to see why we can't play g4 here. Like there's some counter activity like g5. Ooh, g5 we almost lose the queen. We only have one square, but so we would lose the queen, and then after f6 we lose the queen. Okay, so that doesn't work. I almost dropped the queen there. Yeah, that loses the queen. Wow. Too bad. Okay. But I still don't know why you have to take on d4. But this is such an awkward way to play. Okay, so why is there a reason we can't take here? I see. Okay, so he didn't want to take here because there's a rook sack, and then rook takes, and then there's no, but we're still okay there. Yes, no. So I don't know. I would just take here. I might be missing something. I've missed a lot already. But I don't see why we can't take. If he's scared of this, which is what I was looking at, I mean, our rook defends this fork. So, okay, I'm not sure why this was necessary, unless there's a tactic. No. Yeah, I'm not sure why that was needed, but okay. Ooh, okay, attacking the queen. So I'm not sure, but I don't like rook d1. Yeah, okay, we're contesting an open file. We're taking control of the open file. We're attacking the queen. But here's the reasons I don't like it. First of all, we're actually improving the queen's placement. by playing rook d1, the queen can now go to a more active square, something like this. His rooks are now connected. He's hitting our knight, and the queen is just better placed. So I don't like it for that reason. And then the other reason is we're getting off of this file, which we're contesting. Right now, okay, we can't actually take because there's a back rank mate threat, but we do have two pieces defending it, so we might still be okay here. So let's say, oh, maybe we won't though, because if we go bishop takes, and let's say knight takes, it doesn't work because rook takes, and there's a mate. But we can't take it immediately, but there's still pressure here. And I think this pressure might be better than rook d1. For example, well, I wonder, okay, I guess we can't take because this might be good for black. I'm not sure. It might still be good there. Take, well, no, he's got discoveries, never mind. So we don't like that. This is probably a dangerous pawn to take because there's stuff like this and then bishop takes and our queen's under attack. But I still think we should be contesting this. So maybe we could play something like h3. It might be a little slow, I'm not sure. Or a5. Trying to slow down, trying to prevent b5. But I would be going after this pawn. Yeah, so maybe possibly h3. But then there's b5 hits. b5 hits, but then maybe we can play a5, liquidate this pawn. Yeah, okay. So I'm not sure what the plan is with 94. This video is going to be so long. I hope it's helpful to somebody. This is really, really hard to play for white, so I'm not coming up with great options for white. I'm more just finding some things that I find awkward for white. But anyways, 94, I'm not sure what the plan is. Is he trying to come into here? Possibly. But after something like b6, I'm not sure what white is doing here. Unless he wants to get to a blockade on c3. And I do like that. Maybe that's the idea, to come into c3. That's not a bad idea. It's probably, might be a little dangerous to take still. But it's not a terrible idea. It's not a bad idea. Hopefully that's what white is planning. Yeah, okay, good. I think I like that. Okay, white has some play here. Ooh, that seems a little dangerous. I'm not sure if it is or not. It seems dangerous, so white might be able to get away with it though. Let's see. Just wondering about something like this immediately. Ooh, why did he go queen there? Is this a problem? Bishop f5. No, sorry, his queen's under attack. I didn't even notice that. What about? Okay, ooh, maybe that does work, eh? Yeah, because nothing like this works because we. Oh yeah, no, I wonder. What about queen b2? So, but we do get that central pawn, but this seems dangerous. But yeah, queen b2 kind of scares me because then there's f5. There's f5 coming, but yeah, queen b2 might concern me here as white. I guess if queen b2, well, no, I'm still concerned because if we move the queen to defend, now our knight is unprotected. So queen b2 might be a winning move for black here. The other thing is, yeah, because white already has issues. There's this x-ray on the queen, and then there's our rook that's undefended. So I think we're kind of digging ourselves a bigger hole by taking here. Because once black moves the queen, there's still threats for white. Yeah, I'm curious. I'm gonna take a peek at the engine. Yeah, queen b2 is second best move here. Actually, there's even just rook takes e4, and then just okay. Yeah. So there's computer likes this as well, but even better apparently is for black to take, and then after it takes, just simply take the rook, and we black minimizes or simplifies down. Yeah. Okay. So, but yeah, this I don't think is the greatest move by black. I think black needs to attack, create the keep the pressure on f3. I'm not sure. F3 might be okay, but I wonder about f5. So, whoops. I think this might be the better way to do this, although is f5 still an issue there? I think it's not, because then we would have a discovered check. Oh, I guess after queen takes, rook takes, rook takes, rook takes. Ooh, it's close. I don't know. Yeah, it's tough. This is a really tough game, to be honest. I mean, often when I do these videos, my answers are very clear cut. And I can say things with strong conviction. But this is a pretty tough game. So, but I would consider rook e1. We just really have to be concerned about f5. And I'm not sure about that. Like if we go back to knight c3, we'll get an isolated pawn after some trades. So, and black can minimize down. So I'm not sure. Maybe f3 is the better move. I'm not sure, but I'm still concerned about this f5 move. Okay, so can we take? There's a check here and we can't do anything about it. Okay, so that doesn't work. Okay, so we still might, okay, yes, take once, but we don't take here. Yeah, okay. Oh, G3. Man, I hope this video isn't terrible. Because this is a really hard game for me. Maybe why it's so hard is because white is in a really tough position. I mean, this whole game, white has just been backpedaling. G3, I don't know. G3 might be okay. One of my concerns is the white's king still has less shelter because later on, if check and so forth, the king is going to still be exposed, and exposed to possible checks by the rook. H3 takes away some light squares from black. You know, now there's this is already a covered square, but it's just even doubly defended. These light squares are very controlled. Well, this one isn't controlled, but these are very controlled squares by white, and we also have a little hidey hole on h2. If the rook ever comes down, we can actually go to h2. So I don't know. I would consider. I think I would prefer h3 here, but this is a really tough position to play. And I should be fair here too. At this point in the game, white only has 1 minute left, so he's in time trouble. So I will keep that in mind. So okay, trying to keep the queens on, probably not a bad idea. Yeah, see, here's the problem. If white had taken here, and then the queens were traded, this is the problem I had with G3. So I'll just show you here. If takes, we lose the bishop. There's rook check, king goes here, and check. And that's kind of what I was concerned about. That's what I was talking about when we played G3, because the king remains exposed because it has to come into the open. That's why I preferred h3. But anyways, but white did not play queen takes, so he did take with a pawn. We lose another pawn here. But I mean, this whole game, it was just white was just behind from the get-go. I mean, this is a lost position, so there's not really too much I can recommend. And here we have the same issue. Yeah, same issue as before. So yeah, we don't want to trade queens, but we don't really have we don't really have much of an option here. It's pretty much game over. Okay, so and he keeps playing, but I'll just So I would resign here. Don't try, I personally wouldn't try for stalemate because this game was. I mean, you're good enough where players aren't likely to stalemate you when you're at 1500. Okay, so extremely long video, 1 hour video. And probably not the most helpful video I've done, but this was a really complex game. It was very sharp, but I'm just going to go very quickly through it again. So the opening, for the future, you should kind of learn this. In this line, this d5 is not good for white. I can't really comment on it very much because I don't play this as white at all. So, but you can just look at the database and knight f3 is by far the best move, and the engine gives us -1. So in the future you should look into this. Consider knight f3. I spent way too long on this move. This was all okay. My concern was kind of here. What this is, and again, this all goes back to the opening. If you remember, I spent so much time on this. I'm like, I'm a little nervous here because this set the stage for the rest of the game. And this is why white it was just so uncomfortable, very uncomfortable game for white. The whole game, very hard to play. Even for me, I was trying to find moves for white, and it was a very difficult game, man. But the issue started here when white maybe wasn't realizing the threats so much in the opening. Because to me, this is a very sharp position, and it will set the tone for the rest of the game. That's why it's very important to make sure in sharp positions like this you don't mess up. And so this was played too quickly by white, and a3 kind of lets black dictate what's going to happen. Yeah, okay. And then where was it? It was here. Yeah, and then here I was preferring queen g3. We eliminate a lot of white's issues by playing queen g3 first. There's no longer this very annoying X-ray on white's queen, and we start to create our own threats. It's important for white to get the initiative back in this game because black dictated the whole game. So this was kind of one of the crucial points, I think. Instead of just playing knight c4 and again just allowing black to dictate what goes on, it's black gets the whole court gets to say what's going to happen. White needs to try to get some say in the game. So I thought this was kind of an interesting point in the game. And as I've stated before, knight b2, you just have to be careful with these moves because you saw that white just ends up getting crawled into this ball of despair, and the knight just had no great squares here. I had suggested knight d2. Computer didn't like it. I guess it was just too slow. But this would have been the best move, and it just simplifies the position. It improves white's light squared bishop, and there's just a lot more hope again. And then there's this backwards pawn that we can target. We can play bishop b2, get the rooks on d1, and white is back in the game. So that would have been, I think, a very, very way to almost equalize the game again and put white right back in the game. This knight b2 was, yeah, okay. I did not like rook b2. I think moving the king would have been a better a better move here. Because again, this is just as bad as knight b2. Putting the rook here, it just kills all of white's pieces. You got to be really careful with these positional moves. And also here, I thought this exchange stack was not necessary. But I do realize it's a very hard position to play for white. Very, very hard position to play. Yeah, and here I was thinking not giving black a free move. Try to put more pressure on this. We have to create more threats. White has to create more threats. Try to get the initiative back again. Again, this is allowing black free development of the queen. And yeah, taking this was a very committal move. I wasn't sure about that because whoops, I didn't mean to make that move, because there's already existing threats, and this just creates more issues for white. But again, a very, very hard position to play. So hopefully that helps. I hope I wasn't rambling too much. It was a very difficult game. So this was more, so there were some tactical issues in the beginning, but a lot of it was positional play. You got to be very careful about the placement of your pieces, especially in the kind of the opening phase or early middle game. Don't put knights on squares like b2. Don't put rooks on squares like what was it? I forget. E2, I think. So you can see what happened. Just those small. Well, to me they're big positional mistakes, but you can see how big of an effect they can have on your game. Hope that was helpful. Feel free to leave your comments so I can maybe improve my commentary in the future. That's it. See you next time.